So Gerard, if you could describe your movie Kandahar in one word, what would it be?
It's a fart.
So, Kandahar. Kandahar tells the story of an undercover CIA operative played by Gerard Butler who is stuck in enemy territory in Afghanistan after a mission has been exposed. Accompanied by his translator, they must fight their way out to get to an extraction point in Kandahar. The story is compelling and interesting. I think it would make a really good documentary, but it's just not very well executed. As far as the list of characters go, you've got Hot Borat, the thirst trap mercenary, and Travis Fimmel, who was entirely wasted in this film. It's a totally forgettable performance that feels like old Travi was just phoning it in. And he's a super talented guy. He was amazing in the Viking series as Ragnar Lothbrok. Dude, this movie was wild. I literally had a dog sitting next to me. And that's not some metaphor. It was a grown-ass German Shepherd, and it definitely wasn't a service dog. So the dog started out the movie on the floor. How nice of them. But when the bullets started flying, the dog jumped right up into the chair next to me. So if you were wondering if it's a good idea to bring your dog to the movie theater, it's not. Maybe leave the babies at home too. Dogs, babies, cows, sheep. So this movie makes the cardinal sin. I didn't care about any of the characters whatsoever. It's not until about 2/3 of the way through the movie where they actually try to form a bond between Butler and his translator, but by that point it's too late. You'd already lost me. Butler's acting is wooden, and the film is devoid of any real emotion save one scene from the translator. The translator who plays the Sultan in the live-action Aladdin movie does a whole lot more of the heavy lifting to make you feel anything emotional. His son was killed by mercenaries, and it makes you feel like he actually has experienced loss. If you're looking for a compelling narrative in which a soldier and his translator form an actual meaningful relationship, you should go check out Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, which just came out. Similar premise to this, but it actually is a very interesting and intriguing movie. The Covenant does a much better job at making you feel like both the translator and the soldier care about each other and care about saving each other. So I do want to talk about the good. I don't like just going in and shitting on movies. I think that a lot of people go and put hard work into the films that they make. I put hard work into what I'm doing here, and when people just shit on it, it makes you feel like crap. So let's talk about the good. There is one sequence that the film nails, which is a nighttime helicopter chase scene. They nail the feeling of being in the dark, but show us what the characters are seeing through their night vision goggles. It's minimally lit with mostly silhouettes and the occasional gunfire popping onto the scene. The action was solid in some other parts of the film, but as a whole, it felt somewhat neutered. The chase sequences are fine in general, but because I didn't really care that much about the characters, there wasn't hardly any tension when they were being chased because I just didn't care if they got caught or not, if they got shot. It didn't really matter to me, so that's what this film was missing, was creating compelling characters and a really interesting narrative that made me want them to actually survive. So this film actually does have some interesting things to say about the themes around the lessons of war. Modern wars aren't meant to be won is a theme that pops up, but it doesn't actually show or tell you what the point of modern wars are. Is it for control, oil, land, or to enrich certain people at the expense of others? The film avoids the politics of what actually going to war means and never states a clear perspective on the war machine. They do, however, go into how genocidal maniacs who are granted access to firearms and are essentially bribed by different governments often switch allegiances and remain loyal to no one. If you've ever been around a doctor before or a nurse and you have a boner and they flick your balls just to get it to go away, that's kind of how this movie makes you feel emotionally. A little bit dead inside. I didn't hate the movie, I just was bored. Kandahar was filmed almost entirely in Saudi Arabia, and it adds a sense of realism to the film. You feel like you were actually in Afghanistan where the movie is set. With this being a retelling of true life events surrounding the Edward Snowden leaks, the location and cinematography really helped to ground this film solidly in the Middle East. The only problem is, the narrative never rises to the level of the surroundings. Kandahar clocks in right at 2 hours. They spent the first hour on the run and didn't leave room for any character development, so this was kind of 2 hours too long. The sound design was actually insane and done really well. Certain explosions made the entire theater shake, kind of like one of those 4D theaters. I felt a tingle in my pangle. The lady next to me was getting a little breathy and clenching the armrest, if you know what I'm saying. The film had a decent score, but the licensed songs they chose for pivotal moments felt odd and out of place. So who's the movie Kandahar for? That's a tough one. I can't really recommend it to the history buffs because I know they'll just nitpick the shit out of it. I can't recommend this movie to casual viewers either, as there are multiple Middle Eastern languages and the subtitles that accompany those. If you like war movies, you will likely be let down as well. It has some warlike moments, but it plays more like a 2-hour chase sequence than an actual battle. It's more of an espionage thriller, low on the thrills. I guess what I'm trying to say is I simply do not recommend this movie. Your mileage may vary, so if you dug the film, let me know what I missed in the comments. If you're feeling sexy, my friend, hit the subscribe button, and if you want to see a movie I actually recommend, check out my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review here, and I will catch you in the next one.